accident, you know it's no walk in the park. Car repairs, medical bills, and lost time from work all add up. And if the insurance company isn't paying their fair share, you have to cover the rest, even if it wasn't your fault. That's why you need an advocate. Call us today, and we'll do everything we can to get you moving again. Come on.
You deserve clear, risk-free advice to help get you back on your feet. You deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show on October 2nd, 2024. Yes, it's October 2nd, and we are rapidly approaching. You guys believe I was at the grocery store the other day, and there's already pumpkins out. And there's been for weeks, actually. The Monty Show is always presented by our good friends at The Advocates, who remind you to strut your mutt. That's right, Strut Your Mutt 2024. The Advocates working with so many in the communities to make Utah a no-kill state in 2025. Whether your favorite mutt barks or right meows.
See what you did there? That was a cat reference.
Right meow.
Yeah.
Hook it up on Saturday, October 19th at Liberty Park, 10 to 4. And celebrate pets with the Advocates. There's going to be all kinds of giveaways. And remember, the Advocates are here to help. If you get into an accident, if you need an attorney, the Advocates, the thing I love about the Advocates, and I tell you every day, that the Advocates, they employ empathy. They understand that when you're going to the Advocates and when you are looking for an injury attorney, it's likely one of the worst days of your life. If you got hurt at work, got in a car accident, got in an accident with a semi-truck, the Advocates understand that you need clear, risk-free advice that's going to put you on the right path to recovery. You deserve an advocate. Get to theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Well, another eventful day yesterday. Have we all recovered from Pac-12 expansion? And I'm not quite certain, but I believe that the amount of beer consumed in the Pac-12 community
Gonzaga.
with the addition of Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
It was as though the Pac-12 was back and they were a P5. They got 7 of their teams in to the playoff and on an automatic qualifier. Like you'd have thought the world stopped spinning yesterday.
Gonzaga.
When they added Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. It's Gonzaga. Please don't at me, bro, about your degree and the money you paid at Gonzaga. But my point is, how big of a move, Jake, do you think that Gonzaga to the Pac-12 was?
I mean, look, it's certainly a nameplate. It's certainly a quality addition. It's certainly, it's a win. It's a win. Like, great job, gold star. Here's your sticker. Like, you got your brand. Great. But the problem is you're still not in a place where you can be designated a conference. And I understand the process is playing out. Things take time. But I don't know. I guess I feel like yesterday and leading into today, the Pac-12 adds Gonzaga, and what do all the Pac-12 fans do? Oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Like, we're the best conference in the land. Everything's amazing. Like, the Mountain West is a peasant conference. Like, that's all I saw in the comments section yesterday. That's all I saw all over Twitter.
The Mountain West is dead.
Yeah, the Mountain West is dead,
bro.
The Mountain West is terrible.
It's over.
Like, how could you say that, the Mountain West is in a better position than the Pac-12? We just got Gonzaga. And it's like, yes, you got Gonzaga. Yes, that's a win. Yes, that's a step in the right direction. No, you're not a conference. No, you don't have an AQ. No, you don't have enough football members. No, you're not relevant yet. Like, yes, it's a win, but no, you're not where you need to be. And I think this, like, the reaction to this yesterday is precisely what Pac-12 football fan likes to do to people, which is just lean on them. And I understand that was a win, but we shouldn't take it too far. There's still more that needs to happen.
And I think the biggest question in the Pac-12 right now is, do they have enough football? Do they have enough football? And you look at this group of universities, and I think right now you do not have enough football. And that is the number one question that I have is what's the next football brand that you're going to add? Because this group of teams here, while solid, is not enough football. And you look at, obviously, Gonzaga does not play football. San Diego State has been down in football. Boise State is inarguably your best football brand. And then Utah State, Fresno State, and Colorado State, are those really needle movers when it comes to football? I would tell you they're not. And I think that's my single biggest question. And then when you flip over and you look at the Mountain West and you say to yourself, okay, well, you added UTEP. Is UTEP somehow a world beater? They're not. They have not been good in recent times. But you understand that move, much like you understand the Gonzaga move, because it gives you a real win in college basketball. But you look at Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Jose State, UNLV, Wyoming. I mean, you have football teams in the Mountain West. And I think the biggest question that I have is, if you're the Pac-12, where do you go next? Where are you going to go? Because it's been very clear, and talking to some folks around college football yesterday, it's very clear that these two conferences are trying to stay out of the FCS. They are trying to avoid with for instance, Sacramento State. The Pac-12 is trying to avoid adding Sacramento State, I think, because it's such a big leap and there's not an immediate return on what would certainly be a Pac-12 investment. I think that makes perfect sense to try and stay out of that. But again, if you're Gloria Nevarez in the Mountain West, I think you're very clearly targeting the Conference USA and trying to, I'm told, still have conversations about a merger, bringing the two brands together. Does that help you? I think it certainly does. Does it put you over the top? Over the top of what is my question? Because again, when I look at G5 conferences, neither the Mountain West or the Pac-12 are even close to the AAC right now. And I think there's this belief amongst Pac-12 fan that the Pac-12 can still go and get Memphis and Tulane, and that's not happening right now. And I don't see a way that happens. I was talking to somebody in the AAC yesterday who we were talking about their grant of rights, because Pac-12 fan has been on every message board running their lips about how, well, you don't have a grant of rights. It is absolutely accurate that the AAC does not have a grant of rights. But what do they have? They have a large exit fee that at this point today is $25 million. So, and let's play the game with Memphis. Memphis has repeatedly said, well, we're not traveling our student athletes to the extent that they would have to travel to join the Pac-12. So it's not even the exit fee, but I am told that their charter, which I have not seen, but the charter in the AAC is pretty straightforward. It's not a grant of rights, only it acts as a grant of rights, because you have membership until 2031. You have a $25 million exit fee from that conference. I mean, it is a $1 billion TV deal with ESPN. What exactly are you leaving the Pac-12 to go and get? And I understand, Pac-12 fan, that you are passionate about your league, and I appreciate that. But if you're Memphis, who Pac-12 fans seem to have this irrational attraction to, if you're Memphis, why are you leaving the Pac-12? Or why are you leaving for the Pac-12? Why would you leave, again, a $1 billion TV deal? Let's not forget that. With ESPN, where you're making $7 million a year. Why would you leave that to go to the Pac-12, where you don't have a TV deal? You don't know what your money is going to be. You're going to have to spend a significant amount of money, more than you are spending now, on travel and infrastructure. It just doesn't make a lot of sense that teams in the AAC would leave for the Pac-12.
Yeah, I just don't know why you would incur the risk. I don't know why you would put yourself in a lesser position. And you know, I think that's the primary issue for Pac-12 fan today, is that you feel like because you added Gonzaga that you're now in a way better spot. Like that you like elevated yourself, that you put yourself in a spot where it's like, oh, we're clearly better than the Mountain West or the AAC. Like we're the top dog. And I think that's unfounded. I think I don't agree with that. I think that you're heading the right direction, that adding Gonzaga was a win. But I would agree for teams in the AAC, it doesn't make sense to incur that risk. And so when you look at what's next for the Pac-12 and partially what's next for the Mountain West as well, I would say, you have a situation where at least in the Mountain West, you have what I would call reliable factors, right? Like, what the TV deal is, what your schedule would look like on some level. Like you understand, that this conference has been around and, seemingly will be around. They didn't, they've bounced back, right? They bounced back quickly, which I think is a very distinct difference than what the Pac-12 has had to go through here. If you look at the two situations. So if I'm on the East Coast, or if I'm, anybody in the AAC, I'm sitting here saying, man, like this move doesn't make sense. And, I know we've played the Dr. Ed Scott clip, multiple times, the AD from Memphis. We've played that clip multiple times this week, but I think that sentiment perfectly encompasses how an AAC team would view this situation.
Yes.
Because again, it's the way he described it was, hey, he called it a bad deal. He said, hey, this is a bad deal, or would have been a bad deal for Memphis athletics. It would have been a bad deal for our Olympic sports. It would have been a bad deal for basically everyone involved at Memphis, and that's why they didn't do it.
But let's play the cut, because I think what Dr. Ed Scott is saying here, the athletic director at Memphis, I think is what we've been saying for several weeks. The value proposition is not in place for a university like Memphis to leave the AAC for the Pac-12.
If y'all haven't seen the latest reports of what's going on between the Mountain West and the Pac-6, 7 right now, this is a fluid situation, right? So that's the other thing. When we talk about the decision that was made by the University of Memphis to not join the PAC, as I like to call them right now at this time, that was not a binary decision. That was not a no, we're not ever going anywhere. That was based on the offer that was presented in front of us, that we're not taking that offer because we don't think less of ourselves. And I came here for a reason. You heard me in the press conference. You've heard me in any interview I've done. I'm bullish on Memphis's future. And so I think sometimes we get enamored by the new and we want to take a bad deal. And that deal was not a good deal for the University of Memphis. It certainly wasn't a good deal for our athletic department. And most importantly, it was a really, really bad deal for our Olympic sports.
I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. And I think one of the other things that's at play here, and I want to make it clear, we asked Mr. Scott to come on the show. He declined to comment further on Memphis and Pac-12 expansion. So we don't get to ask him directly. But I've heard from so many people, and I mean, it must be a dozen people in the last week who have said to me, it's a bad look for the Pac-12 to be trying to essentially end other G5 conferences. And a lot of people are weary of doing business with the Pac-12 because it remains business as usual and business as it's always been in that conference. And I think the biggest question is, are you going to be able to go to another FBS conference and pull a member out of that conference when there's real questions about what you're offering? And I think the answer is no, you can't, not right now. And the biggest handicap or hurdle standing in the way of the Pac-12, I also think, is the perception that other universities and other conferences have of the way that the Pac-12 has gone about executing these moves with expansion. I think it is a horrendous look that you have gone after the Mountain West. I would also point out, not sure who the Pac-12 is going to play in football next year, because remember that scheduling agreement did not go forward. So I'm told that while they are still working on expansion, that one of their main focuses is building a 2025 football schedule. But this has just been a bad look all around. So let me get this right. You tried to get everybody from the AAC. They said no. You took the biggest brands in the Mountain, and now you've taken the singular biggest brand in the WCC. It's not the best look in the world. And oddly enough, you're bringing the G5 together against you in some levels. And I think the way that Gloria Nevarez has gone about handling her business, personally reaching out to other commissioners saying, hey, I am gonna reach out to UTEP to have discussions with them. I just want you to know, instead of dropping bombs on people. I just think that from a relationship standpoint, which if you've listened to the show at all, you know how passionate I am about relationships. From a relationship standpoint, I believe the Mountain West is on the right side of the line here.
Yeah, and I think that there's this dynamic at play where hey, like, you know, we all got to stick together kind of mentality in the G5, right? Meaning like, hey, you know, if you're Gloria Nevarez and, you know, the rest of the G5 knows that you're going to have to add, and damn well knows that you're not adding from, you know, the power conferences, if you will. You're not going to go and poach a team from the Big 12, let's say, or whatever. They know that those calls need to be made. It's not lost on them. They're not stupid. So it's not a issue of, hey, like, we're going to lose a member out of our conference, so, you know, this stuff out west can take place. It's an issue of premise. It's an issue of how you go about doing your business. And
yes,
it's an issue of, hey, the Pac-12 still somehow has this, you know, ability to just exude arrogance in the room. And you do that by, like you said, dropping bombs on people. You do that by doing this, you know, have a scheduling agreement. And it would appear, again, my opinion, it would appear to me at least, you had a scheduling agreement, you know, you didn't get what you wanted, so you went in and tried to destroy the Mountain West.
And then you sued them.
And now you're suing them. Like, that's not a great look.
And that's the thing that I've heard so much this week talking to people around college football is, and then you sued them. So let me get this right. You made the scheduling agreement. You signed a contract that included the poaching penalty. Then you poached, and then you sued them. Like, that's the thing that really stands out to me is you just don't have perspective. And the other thing that I think is so clear here is you're looking at a group of commissioners and universities in the G5 that already felt vulnerable because they were being pushed out of the college football playoff. They already had that syndrome of, well, Greg Sankey's trying to screw us.
Yeah.
They were already on the defensive there. So then Gloria Nevarez, and the way it's been explained to me and the way people view it is, she offered an olive branch to the Pac-12 by saying, hey, how can we help you? How can we support you? And that's how you repaid them. I think that's the biggest issue that you're seeing right now is the reputation of the Pac-12 is kind of taking a beating. And I go back to Teresa Gould, the commissioner of the Pac-12. She is Larry Scott. She is George Kliavkoff. She is old guard Pac-12, and they are doing business the way they've always done business.
Back to the envelope calculations.
And I think that's hurting them. Now, having said that, Gonzaga's a huge ad. Gonzaga's a big win for the Pac-12. And if they do get St. Mary's, and they are talking to St. Mary's, as we told you 2 weeks ago, we had been told directly that Gonzaga and St. Mary's were thought to be going to the Pac-12 together. I don't know where, if they get St. Mary's, I don't think you can add GCU and St. Mary's to this conference.
Mm-hmm.
You have got to get a football member into this conference. Because again, what I point out is you look at this graphic and you look at what the conference looks like right now, and it's very heavy. It's very heavy on just okay brands. Like, you look at Gonzaga's doesn't play football. So on this graphic, I don't think there's any question. As I said, Boise's the best football brand. You need football brands. You need a football win, and you need a full share football win.
Right.
I think that much is very clear.
Well,
so
and I think whoever you would add to this mix is really important too, because again, you know, a lot of people are talking about, hey, like regionality, and like, you know, you look at this mix and like the travel costs are pretty low. They're pretty in check, which is great.
Very
I mean,
regional,
that's,
regional.
You know, that's great for the Pac-12. And I think that that's a really smart play based on, you know, again, even though I disagree with the lawsuit, based on the fact that you're suing the Mountain West and all the money that's taking out of your resources, you know, having this moving forward, this type of setup is really smart. And I also think when you look at targets or potential targets for the Pac-12, it would be based on this mix here. It would be odd to have, not that Memphis would join, but like a team out there, a Memphis or a Tulane, a team that way. It would not make sense for a team that way, just based on what you have already, to join this mix. So based on travel costs, based on the deal itself, all those AAC members are out of the picture. And I feel like if you're someone today saying, oh, well, they could just go get Tulane or they can go and get whoever out there, you're missing the point here. The point is that this conference is going to be regional. This conference is going to
has to be
like they can't afford to be, Berkeley to the East Coast. They can't afford that. That doesn't work in their plan.
In my opinion, if you are the Pac-12, here's with this group of teams, here's the problem that you have. Can you go and expand east of the Rocky Mountains? And the answer is, I don't know that you can. You've already, obviously, Colorado State is your enclave out east. But what do you do now to add a football brand to this conference that's not going to be a man on an island?
Well, and I think, who have we heard so much about? We've heard so much about NIU in these conversations. But the problem with that is obviously they're in the Midwest. I mean, you're past the Mississippi at that point.
Well, and I think that's why when you look at Air Force, which is in Colorado Springs, and you look at UTEP, which is in El Paso, Texas, obviously, you see where they're going. And you look at YO and you look at some of the geographic spread of this group of universities, it's easier in that footprint to expand east. And I think that's part of the problem. It is mental health is something that you're going to have to consider. And I don't think you should take it lightly that what are we hearing about with Gonzaga? Why was Gonzaga such a good fit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say, and you're going to hate it. Well, academically, they're a really good fit with our group of members, which is exactly what they said.
Facts.
So this bill of criteria that Pac-12 fan and everybody else doesn't want to hear plays a role in it. And I'm just really curious to see how this plays out. All right, less of us, more of you on the Monty Show. Let's get your comments in here this morning. I feel a little. I need more sleep. I'm averaging like 6 hours of sleep right now.
Yeah. But later in the show, we need to talk about like time, work life, show life balance. And
what is work life? I'm sorry, I thought you said balance.
Yeah, balance.
I'm not sure.
No, what are you talking about, man?
I'm not sure what that is. I mean, I know what Prize Picks is. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy. You already know I won last night if I'm doing the arm pop. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy app in the business. Download the app right onto your phone. Now, you're not going to pimp such as in like myself with an iPhone 16 Pro.
Such as in like myself.
I mean, not everybody's able. Everybody ain't able.
Right.
And that includes you.
Right.
But I would like to point out that I did degenerate myself down to the WNBA last night. And I would also like to point out that my dear friend, Asia Wilson, absolutely came through. 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists last night was her number. She had 35. Thank you.
Okay.
That's a win. And then I would also just like to point out that my friend, my good, close, personal buddy and friend and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Mets beat the hell out of the Brewers?
Yeah.
And my close personal friend and stuff such as in like Pete Alonso absolutely let me down last night, taking an offer. I should have gone. I was torn between Severino, because I don't take two guys in the same game ever.
Right.
And I was between Pete Alonso and Luis Severino.
Right.
Severino last night was 4.5 strikeouts, and I was going to take less because the Brewers don't strike out all that much. He would have hit that, and because then I would have turned around and, I would have hit that. But so I lost that one. But again, my friends, we play flex play, right? And when you have been suspended for taking things such as prohibited enhancers to your baseball performance,
Lidocaine and B12.
That's exactly why we take Fernando Tatis.
Yeah. Mr. Take 'em deep to left field.
3.5 hits, runs, and RBIs yesterday on a demon.
Yeah.
He had 4.
Did you see his home run yesterday?
Yes.
Dude, that was a moonshot.
Pimp scum pimp, man.
I mean, he's probably out on his motorcycle after the game.
Hello. I am trying to strut my win on Prize Picks.
No credit for the motorcycle Tatis bomb?
No, none. I was telling, I spread it around last night. WNBA and Major League Baseball, and it came through for me. 2 or 3. The Demon helped me on a $20 flex play. That went 56.25.
Yeah.
Life is good. That's the best part about Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty. Open a new account with the promo code Monty. You deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more. It's the best daily fantasy promotion I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's why Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy app in the business. Hook it up right now. Download the app. Use the promo code Monty to get a matching deposit. Well, as always, I guess I should say, Calford gives us 5 Monty Show memberships.
Go, Calford. By the way, Calford's been on a heater with Prize Picks. He's a big Prize Picks guy.
Love it. Absolutely love it. How about Sparsh? A member for 5 months. Thank you, Sparsh. Mountain West Conference did to the WAC is what the PAC is doing to the Mountain West. So, and he's talking about how the Mountain West was formed.
Right.
But that was such a different time ago. And you weren't the perception that's been explained to me about the Pac-12 is that you think you're better than the rest of the G5 because you're the Pac-12. And I think that is exactly.
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is.
I think that's the perception of the Pac-12, that they're walking around like, hey, we're the Pac-12. Of course you want to leave the AAC.
I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
What are you even talking about?
Yeah.
Who cares if we don't have a TV deal and we have no idea how much money you're going to make? We're the Pac-12.
Yeah, duh. I mean, obviously.
Hello.
Come on.
That's what the perception is.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real problem. But Sparsh, you're not wrong. The Mountain West was formed out of violence. But I think it was just such a different time.
Yeah.
Right? I think it was such a different time than it is now. All right, let's go back to the top because we need to pay homage to Mike's Mountain Mama.
Who knew?
Mama. Yes! Hit the like button, support the show. Thank you, Mike. Always good to see you.
By the way, the membership train is on a heater right now.
It is.
Have our all-time record for total members on the show.
Organic members. We have never. So there's a difference when somebody like Calford gifts a membership. That's different than what an organic, a grass-fed, free range membership and stuff.
Right.
Where somebody just hits the join button. We have surpassed the 500 organic member number, which, and I know you guys are going to be like, who are you, the Pac-12? That puts us in.
Stay hard.
That puts us in the 1% on YouTube.
Yeah.
500 organic members is 1% on YouTube, which is, again, the way you guys support this show, I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, it's
and
sensational.
It is sensational. It's very humbling. I understand that we don't always agree on topics, but you guys have just supported this show for going on 10 years, some of you now, which is wild. We've been doing this for 10 years,
bro.
Can you guys believe that? We've been doing the Monty Show for 10 years. In our old townhouse, way up when we were doing it in our house in Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
It's wild.
On an iPad.
Zag says, good morning, Aztec undergrad, Gonzaga postgrad. Don't you mean Gonzaga post.
Yeah, I mean, did you get the pro rata you deserve there?
Do you guys remember back in
Gonzaga?
the day when Jake was calling it Gonzaga?
I like Gonzaga.
And I cannot remember her name, but we had a Gonzaga alumni come in and be like,
Gonzaga.
I didn't pay all that money for you to disrespect our brand, bro. Like, do you guys remember that? Like, lost her mind on the show.
Don't talk crap about my team.
It's Gonzaga, and you'll call it Gonzaga. I paid a lot of money.
Stop disrespecting me, bro.
Chill.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, let's see how this PAC thing plays out. It's ride or die now. It really is, Glenn. You're in a great spot at San Diego State. I think San Diego State is a great university. I have a lot of friends of mine that are alumni. They need to win football games because the university is doing everything it can do from an administration level to support athletics, specifically football, and you're not winning games. And it's high time that San Diego Gonzaga.
Right.
It's time that San Diego State wins games. Truly. Mr. Preston, hello. Good to see you, bro. Daniel Dixon, what school is next in the Pac-12? It's a great question. I think it's a really smart move to add St. Mary's. Great basketball program. Goes well with Gonzaga. Now, it is a religious institution. St. Mary's is. I believe it's a Catholic school. We used to play basketball in their gym back in the day when we were at the great KMBR 680.
The sports leader.
We played a lot of, you played baseball there in high school.
Yeah.
Played baseball there, played basketball in their gym. Great university, great group of folks, small. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. Very interesting. Phil Venzer. Hello. How are you, Phil? Good to see you. Grad Slacker. No one is leaving the Big East to join the Pac-12. Nobody is doing that. Nobody is doing that. Mick Stevens. Hello, Mick. Good to see you. All hat and cattle. Nice hat, dude. Grand Canyon to the Pac. I'd love to see it. I love our guys. We have a lot of friends and relationships at GCU, but
St. Mary's is a better choice, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Wasikowski, the Bears are in last place again, Marty. Does it matter? We are not supposed to be a playoff team. Now, somebody forgot to tell Eber sucks this, but this is all about developing Caleb Williams. I had no delusions of grandeur with this team. And we're going to talk about Devonte Adams coming up here in 26 minutes. Is Devonte Adams a target for the Chicago Bears?
The Bears.
That would be interesting. Steve Stepanek. Hope you're doing well, Steve. Why would teams join the PAC without a guarantee of in the playoffs for football? That's a tough question. That's very difficult. And I think one of the biggest questions is what's the TV deal going to be?
Right. And I think that comes first before, hey, guaranteed playoff spots.
Without question. Because what good's a playoff spot if you're not on TV? And again, you guys don't give a crap who I talk to, but I talked to somebody very close to the college football playoff yesterday, and there's just not a chance that the Pac-12 builds a brand that gets their own AQ.
Yeah.
And Pac-12 fan in my mentions on the old tweet machine and YouTube, you're not in a position to get your own automatic qualifier. Gonzaga does not do that for you.
No.
So, and donuts. The next domino will fall. It'll be huge, probably. I don't know that there's a small domino. And that's why the Texas State statement yesterday, again, almost a tip of the cap to Gloria Nevarez saying, hey, we were in conversations with a conference. It just didn't work out. Not doing what Ed Scott at Memphis did, which is the Pac 6 or 7 or whatever the hell they're calling themselves these days. Like, I thought that statement, Memphis athletic director, Dr. Ed Scott, saying, well, the Pac 6 or 7 or whatever they are, that was a slap in the face.
Yep.
That was a moment of disrespect. Big Blue Horses. I don't know why I'm saying names like that today. Honestly, G5 expansion is exhausting. But what does it say about your mark not being able to close the Gonzaga deal? Well, this has been hotly contested as well, because I think there is no question that we told you 2 years ago that Gonzaga had an invitation to join the Big 12. They had an invitation to join the old Pac-12, and they never took it. And the question always had been, well, why didn't they take it? And what have we been reporting now for 3 weeks? Gonzaga and the Big 12 had further conversations. Gonzaga didn't want to join. And why didn't they want to join? Because Gonzaga wants a smooth, easy path to the NCAA tournament. The WCC affords them that. The Pac-12 affords them that. The Big 12 does not. The old Pac-12 did not. And I think that when you look at what Gonzaga did by joining the Pac-12, I think they have secured that easy, smooth path and that easy road. Because again, I ask you, who here on this graphic, friends, who here is going to give them any kind of difficulty at all getting into the NCAA tournament? There's one, and it is San Diego State.
Right.
That's it. But we can sit here and we can use conjecture and wonder. And Gonzaga didn't join a power conference because I think they know that it's very difficult to compete at the top of the premier basketball conference in the country, which is the Big 12 right now. How are you going to the NCAA tournament if you're Gonzaga, a small school in Spokane, Washington, that at times has not always been the most talented team, even in the WCC? You're not going to be able to recruit against Houston. You're not going to be able to recruit. You look at BYU. Look at BYU's basketball program right now on the rise. You look at the ladies program, because I think that's something that people are underselling at Gonzaga. The ladies basketball program at Gonzaga is not exactly mincemeat. That's a good program. Yeah, but then you have Utah, which is turning into a power women's basketball program.
I just think, look, I think from an economic standpoint for Gonzaga, you had it so good in the current position you were in.
The WCC.
Yeah, but like the WCC isn't going to challenge you, right? Like you were sitting on top of that thing every single year, and all Mark Few had to do was just get the best out of his players, and you guys were in the tournament. So like, for Gonzaga's purposes, I don't, in my opinion, I think it's harsh to say that Brett Yormark didn't close the deal. I think that Brett Yormark in the Gonzaga conversation was suffering from success because his conference is so damn good in basketball.
100%.
That Gonzaga was like, well, we're sitting here at the top of the WCC, and we don't really want to change that dynamic at our institution. So we love you, Brett, and you're doing an amazing job in the conference. Love the TV deal. Everything's awesome, but it doesn't make sense for us to make it harder to get to the tournament. And so that's why you went to the Pac-12. But I have to say, it does still surprise me that Gonzaga chose to join a situation that does not have a guaranteed TV deal. And hey, maybe
I agree.
The defenders of the Pac-12 and the defenders of this move are going to say, well, you guys maybe just don't know about the TV deal. What if they do have a handshake deal? What if they have? Okay, maybe they have that. But I'm just telling you, if you're Gonzaga, you had it really good in your current situation, really good. And to join a situation that's fluid, that is anything but guaranteed.
A lot of unknowns.
Like I still am a little surprised.
Yep, I agree. One sidestep here, because I get this question every day. Where can you get audio only of the Monty Show? It used to be on TuneIn. We used to be everywhere. We don't produce an audio podcast anymore because all of our attention is focused on YouTube. And the only place you can get our show is Twitter and YouTube. You can get it on Facebook. You can get some highlights here and there. But the only place you can get the full version of our show and comment and be a member of our community is YouTube. And that's why we don't produce an audio podcast anymore. Spotify's really frustrating. That close with Spotify, and just couldn't get over the line with Spotify, and we just our revenue stream is on YouTube. So producing an audio podcast, I'll be honest with you, it's not difficult. It quite literally is isolating an audio track and uploading it. But it does not in our current form yield us revenue, which is why we didn't do it, which is why we stopped doing it, because we want you to come to YouTube. Steve Stepanek, could the Pac-12 or Mountain West get teams from Canada? No, they cannot. because the NCAA does not, I don't believe, have membership in Canada. Thomas Reed, Utah Tech is a rising program. I will continue to agree with that. I would agree with that 100%. Thomas Reed also says Idaho won't make that jump again. It's really arduous to make a jump from FCS up to FBS. Like the Pac-12, the Mountain West, they're in FBS, football bowl, right? Football championship is FCS. It's expensive. It's $5 million at a minimum. Just you're cutting a check for $5 million. And then you have to upgrade just about everything across the board in athletics. And it's really, it's a $50 million move. And I talked to somebody in Sacramento yesterday who was telling me Sac State has the money in an escrow account waiting for an invitation to up themselves to an FBS program and an FBS athletic department. They will not do football only. So that's a perfect example. Sac State has put aside the money to make that leap up to FBS. So it's expensive. It's not easy. I'm telling you, it is not easy. G.I. Jacob, hello. Appreciate your service. I think that's you in a military uniform. The Pac-12 Diddy party. Is it too soon? I think it might be too
soon. Did the Pac-12 go to Costco, get their pallet of baby oil, and roll up to the Mountain West's house?
Hey, it's George Klyavkov over here at the Pac-12. They fired you, George. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Just forget that happened. Could you deliver a pallet of baby oil to the presidential suite at the Aria in Las Vegas, please?
Dilly.
Okay, thanks. Put it on the Pac-12 account. Thanks. All right. Right. We'll be going after Cal Poly, Sac State, UC Davis, and Texas State. They don't have the war chest to do that. They don't. Austin Hoover. Hello. North Dakota, South Dakota do not want to go to the MAC. This is an interesting question. How much appetite do North Dakota and South Dakota State have to give up their supremacy? Because they're kicking ass. They're winning national championships. And they're getting really good football players. There's a real question if North Dakota and South Dakota State want to jump up. I don't know that they do.
Yeah, I mean they're highly successful. Again, it's the same idea as what Gonzaga was dealing with.
And I go back to and I look at the groups. I look at FCS teams. I don't like you. Just Big Sky. Who in the Big Sky would even be a possibility? Obviously, Sac State, Idaho, maybe. UC Davis is a research institution. They don't give a rat's ass about playing football. They happen to play football. That's cool. They're not going to do that. But you start looking around, you're the Missouri Valley.
Bless you, sir.
That came out of nowhere. Excuse me. North Dakota State. I mean, I assume they could, but would you? Why would you? You have a really good thing going with South Dakota State. Why would you? Southern Illinois, why would you? You're competing at a very high level in that conference. You're competing for FCS national championships. You don't have the stadium size, right? So why are you bumping up? Why are you putting in $50 million for something that is unknown in the Pac-12? Or the Mountain West to a lesser extent because you know what you're getting into there. But why? What is and I would love you in the comment section to make the argument. Like you look at North Dakota State having a great season again. They're 4-1. Why on any level would they want to bump up? They're playing in the Fargo Dome holds what? 18,000 fans. That's not an FBS arena or stadium. You're not. It just doesn't make a lot of sense, guys. Yep. It is so much money. So I just ask, why would you want to bump up? Because we all sitting here assume, well, you want to go to the college football playoff, do you? Do you even?
Yeah.
I don't know that you do.
A lot of money, bro.
I don't even know that you do. Hidden Hawaiian, sack on PAC.
Wow, that is just really original content, dude. I mean, that is truly just revolutionizing the industry.
You know, Jay Chapman. Montana has a badass stadium. They do. But that's the thing, you guys. All of these universities, smaller universities, Montana, Idaho, look at Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Laramie's a great place to have a home field advantage. We've seen that play out repeatedly. Do you have an appetite to go play for a national championship? You're probably not willing to spend what it takes at YO or South Dakota, North Dakota.
Right.
I know I'm crazy, but it just is what it is. Chattanooga to the Pac-12. I think that's exactly right.
I want it.
That's right. Sparsh says Gonzaga literally is about to 3 to 5 times revenue. Worst case because they are not paid that well compared to a full payout in an FBS conference to join the PAC. Okay, so let's talk about it, right? We did this with Gonzaga. I want to get the number again because I don't want to misstate it. What do you guys think? What do you think their athletic revenue is? Like if you just put in your head, what do you think they make on a yearly basis?
30, 50.
What do you think their basketball program makes?
The basketball program, probably 20 to 30 mil, I would guess. I mean, they do a lot of different things. I don't know.
I don't think I wouldn't get that right. By reaching the Elite Eight this season, 2023, Gonzaga earned 4 units valued at over $8 million. Okay. St. Mary's brought in 2 units for advancing to the second round. The WCC made $12 million on those 2 programs. So you brought in $8 million. That doesn't mean that you got $8 million, right? So when you look at the numbers that we're talking about, Gonzaga is not making $100 million a year in athletics. So I would agree that just bumping up to a power conference makes it a lot more palatable, because you look at Gonzaga, their disbursement was $5 million last year. So if they bump up, and let's say they get $10 million, they're going to get a full share, right?
Yeah.
You would think.
Yeah.
I would think that that's not that much of a bump. So I'm curious, what's the promise to Gonzaga? Because according to Sportico, Pac-12 officials have been reportedly teasing annual disbursements of $10 to $15 million, reporting this morning to prospective new members.
Well, where have you guys heard that?
Where have you heard that before? That was enough to get Gonzaga to jump. But my question again is, where are you getting $15 million? Is this not the $50 million a year per school thing?
Is this not the Pac-2 getting $600 million?
I think that's the biggest issue.
I think, look, and this is what I've said from day one about this whole situation, man. The leadership in the Pac-12 is playing a very dangerous game. You are making promises about numbers and money that you don't have right now. You don't have that money sitting in your account. So, if you add your 8th football member or whatever, and you then go to your TV partner, and your TV partner doesn't value it the same way you do, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You're going to be in a bad spot with your members. And I still don't think, even with the addition of Gonzaga, I don't think you're out of the woods with, hey, does this conference ever make it back all the way? Because again, to make it back all the way, it's not just getting the TV deal. It's not just getting into the tournament. It's not just winning football games. It's doing that year over year for like 3 or 4 years in a row, so that you can be bringing in that money constantly. So you can constantly be refilling the war chest, if you will. You can constantly be refilling your cup. And I think that's the hard part, is that I just am not confident yet that the Pac-12 is in a spot where it's going to be able to go through this process of rebuilding the conference, adding the teams, paying the exit fees, getting through the lawsuit, doing all this stuff. And then after that, you're going to win enough and be good enough to bring in this influx of money through performance. That's what I am concerned about. And that's what surprises me about Gonzaga choosing this situation. I'm not surprised from an educational standpoint, from a geographical standpoint. That makes sense. All I'm saying is again, you are in a money printing machine. Now, was it doing it to the tune of 10 mil a year? No, but neither is this. So you're trusting, whether that was Teresa Gould who told you that or whoever you talked to, you are trusting them. You are taking them at their word. And I'm telling you, that is a risk you should not be taking.
Yep, I agree. Calford for $5. I won on Prize Picks with the WNBA and not afraid to admit it.
Well, there you go, bro.
Let's go. Calford gifts, 5 more Monty.
Nice job, dude.
Telling you, man, you guys, you're banging money on Prize Picks. Use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty. I just look at I look at the numbers that we're talking about at this level. And by the way, Gonzaga is a private university, so they do not disclose their full revenue. But you look at those shares that we're talking about. Pac-12's got a lot of pressure to deliver a TV deal, because I look at somebody like, I don't know, like a San Diego State, right? San Diego State, you look at their total revenue is $103,930,000, right? And their total expenses are $96.6 million. So they're not making a ton of money. And their athletic facilities cost them $20.3 million a year. Like, it is really expensive to play at the FBS level. And you think about some of these other smaller schools, dudes. I think a lot of you think I just talk in hyperbole, and I don't know what I'm telling you. The money disparity is massive for teams at the football championship level to the football bowl. To jump up to FBS is
huge.
I mean, it's a huge financial commitment. And I just don't think you can do it. I really don't. All right, let's get a couple more of your comments. Hidden Hawaiian, maybe a streamer or possibly TNT, mainly for basketball. We have reported on this show, and I've confirmed multiple times. The Pac-12 has pretty much a handshake agreement in place with the CW to extend their TV deal and grow that TV deal, which again is why I'm telling you the CW's O&O and owned and operated stations and affiliates predominantly are west of the Rockies, so it works. And they have had extensive conversations with Amazon Prime Sports about being their streaming partner. No contracts are signed, no nothing. They have to say, okay, here's our group of universities and partners. What are you willing to kick in for that?
Mm-hmm.
And most people believe that they will have trouble eclipsing $10 million per school per year. And getting over that $100 million, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Because here's the other question. If you're in the Pac-12, are you willing to sign a 10-year grant of rights? You're probably not. So I would guess it'd be a 5-year grant of rights, which is what I'm told they are asking these universities to commit to. So you're talking about a $500 million grant of rights. That's what your TV deal in total, your media rights deal is going to be worth, because you do the math on it. Let's say you get to 10 members, and each one of those members is getting $10 million a year. Okay, that's $100 million times 5 years. It's $500 million combined between the CW and Amazon Prime. That makes a lot of sense to me. For the Pac-12, I think that's probably pretty close, depending on who they end up getting.
Right.
But I think that's the top of the mountain from what I've been told. So we'll see. UW fan Jim, maybe they're talking about their with their TV partner. CW has interest in the PAC succeeding. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. John Evans from Dallas County, Texas, SMU. Pac-12 is fighting to be the tallest midget. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. That's just a funny way of saying it.
They're fighting to be the tallest little person.
Yeah. Come on.
No doubt. Of course, fat, old, and dying.
Yeah.
Of course, they'll get an auto bid to the NCAA tournament. If the Patriot gets it, the new PAC will get it. Oh, I don't think there's any doubt.
Now, what I mean is not like when I say auto bid, meaning they were winning their conference every year, and it wasn't really even Gonzaga. It wasn't even really a discussion, right? You were winning the WCC every single year.
You were going to the NCAA tournament you were playing basketball against Michigan State on aircraft carriers.
Yeah, like there was never a doubt that was going to happen. And that's kind of what I mean.
None.
Like I'm sure, I'm sure when the PAC gets to full strength or whatever, and this all gets finalized, yeah, I'm sure they'll have an auto bid to the tournament. I don't have a doubt about that. But
that's why they didn't join the Big 12.
Yeah, but my point is that when you talk about competition, that's why they didn't go to the Big 12. Exactly, because the competition is too stiff in the Big 12, and it's not a guarantee that every single year you'll get there.
And again, that's why I point out the tournament shares. They brought in $8 million to the WCC. How much of that did they get? I don't know, but I guarantee you that they negotiated a better split of their tournament shares with the Pac-12, because the Pac-12 needed Gonzaga. They had all the leverage at Gonzaga. So they got a good deal. Stepanik, does the Pac-12 get an automatic bid in the basketball tournament? They would. Why would you want to exclude them? With San Diego State and Gonzaga, you wouldn't exclude them. Nate Simons. Hello, Nate. Is Iowa State the best football team in the Big 12?
It's a legit question.
I think it is. There are more potential media partners now than a year ago. Last year, Warner Discovery still had the NBA. They might be willing to bid on PAC basketball now with Gonzaga in the conference. But you also have to remember, the CW is a really good TV partner. A really good TV partner. And college basketball and college football do very well on Saturday and Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason. I'm not telling you they can't get a TV deal. What I'm telling you is the only thing that matters is how much is your TV deal worth per year per school. That's it. I don't care if it's on Jimmy's Yoga Fast channel, on streaming partner X. Who cares? Like legit, if it's on beIN Sports, who cares if you're getting $10 million per school per team?
Right.
If it's on Plex or if it's on Roku,
Samsung TV Plus,
who cares
Yeah.
if you're getting $10 million a year per school per team or per year per school? Who cares? Doesn't matter where it is. In my opinion, you need that money. Now the CW and the let's say it's Amazon Prime, that's a really good TV deal for the Pac-12. I would be thrilled if I were a Pac-12 fan. CW is readily available, and Amazon Prime is on your phone or on your TV or on your laptop and iPad.
Yeah.
It's readily available. It's on every airplane. It's everywhere you want to be, because who doesn't want to see the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air following Pac-12 football? I need my
chips.
I need chips. I need Ponch and John pulling over trucks and stuff on the freeway.
Yeah.
After Pac-12, after the afternoon, not after dark and stuff. I think that's what you need. And I think that's what you'll get. Thomas Reed, the teams in the PAC currently have committed is enough to make them better than any other non-AQ. Really? So are we just writing off the fact that they don't have a power football brand in that conference?
Oh, well, Monty, but Boise State.
And so again, I ask, is Boise State, a legitimate question, your opinion in the comment section, is Boise State a power football brand?
When you say power, do you mean like power?
You expect them to go to, you expect them to go to significant bowl games, compete for championships every single year?
I don't think we can say every single year.
I don't think you can
I think we can say more than 50% of the time. I would say is fair.
And we've had this conversation because everybody wants to go back, and Boise State football fans will tell you that they're the original BCS busters. They're not. That's Utah. What I'm telling you is, if we look at their yearly wins and losses, they've had some great years. They have had some great years in the Idaho Potato Bowl, which is great, right? That's all amazing. But I need in the last 10 years, let's say. So let's go back to 2014. 12-2, they went to the Fiesta Bowl, which they won. They won the Mountain. They 9-4, 10-3, 11-3, 10-3, 12-2. 2020, they were obviously, COVID. Okay, throw it out. 2021, 7-5. 2022, 10-4. Last year, avoided disaster somehow and finished 8-6, tied for first in the Mountain. But they have not been a power brand since 2014.
Right.
They have not been a relevant New Year's Six since 2014. So I look up and down, and the Poinsettia Bowl is amazing. And the First Responder Bowl is amazing. The Frisco Bowl. Who doesn't want to go to the Frisco?
I said, yeah.
Who doesn't want to go to the Arizona Bowl? Come on, guys. Is this a power program?
Cashless.
So I ask you again. Is this roster a great football roster?
I wouldn't say great. I think that I think that it's solid, not great.
I think Fresno State needs to keep winning. And I think, again, I'll just keep saying what I've been saying. Go get San Diego State to win football games.
No, I think this question or this dynamic is heavily at play right now, too, with Pac-12 fan. So Pac-12 fans' defense to that's going to be, well, if you're going to hate on our brands, what does the Mountain West have? And I think the thing, that needs to be said is, sure, you have, I would say, more recognizable nameplates, let's say. Like, I would say San Diego State's probably more recognizable than Nevada when it comes to football or sports. Like, I think more people would know San Diego State.
The Garden Variety College Athletic Observer, not really a fan.
Yeah. Like,
sure, you know who San Diego State is. You know who Boise
you look at
State
UTEP,
is.
right? Like, obviously, you're going to know San Diego State more than you're going to know UTEP.
Of course.
But I think that's a very surface level point of view and perspective, with all due respect. I think that what Pac-12 fan doesn't want to say as it pertains to that is, hey, well, they don't have the option of, having San Diego State because you went in and stabbed them in the back to steal that brand. So if you want to sit here today and say, oh, well, you guys are hating on us, but you're not hating on them. No, we're not hating on them because you stole their best brands. You went in the middle of the night and back alleyed them, and now you have their brands.
Yeah, and I think it's the reality of the situation now. But I think
it's unfair to the Mountain West to say, hey, well, if you're going to hate on the Pac, you got to hate on the Mountain West, because I think that lacks context to the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree. Now do the Mountain West.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
Well, but that's not the conversation we're having, but I'm happy to do the Mountain West because I think their football brands are better. Well, what, Hawaii Athletics, for one thing, football. But if you look at, is there a powerhouse brand here? There's not, but that's a football conference.
Well, UNLV in both conferences is playing the best football this year.
And that's a football conference.
What
I'm telling you is you have to have teams that are known for football. If you're going to add Gonzaga, you still have to go and get another football brand.
Yeah.
And what I'm asking is, does the Pac-12, you guys take it so personally. Like, it's not personal. I'm asking you a business question. Does the Pac-12 have enough football? The answer is no. They don't. And I don't understand why it gets. And Jim, I don't know why you've taken it so personally with the Pac-12 the last couple of days. It's not even an opinion thing. It's not, and I totally disagree that they're far better than the Mountain West.
What evidence do you have to support that?
Here today, you can't say that the Pac-12 is far better than the Mountain West because you have no idea how much money these teams are going to make. And it's 2 years away.
Yeah.
So for the next 2 years, all these teams, what are they doing? Putting money in the Mountain West pocket. Because do you think they're going to stop competing at San Diego State to not go to the tournament because we don't want to give? They're going to keep putting money in the Mountain West pocket. You're not in a far better. Like, let's not get extreme. Take your emotion out of it.
Yeah.
Today, the Mountain West is in a far better spot. They have a TV deal. They have a schedule for next year. You know, they know who they're going to play next year. Who's Oregon State's best game next year? You don't know either. You don't know. Right now, it's Washington State. I think we just get carried away with it, and I don't understand why that happens. Tom Dean gifts 5 Monty Show
Let's
memberships.
go, Tom.
Good to see you, Tom. Appreciate that very much. Hidden Hawaii, UTEP never really fit in Conference USA. They got screwed after the WAC fell apart. I don't disagree with that.
And again, I think the UTEP thing's a perfect example. Why did the Mountain West? So here's the thing. It's not like the Mountain West said, oh, well, UTEP is, just a national championship contender that we got to have. That's obviously not what they said. They're just saying, hey, we got to add back, and we would love to have a presence in the state of Texas. So let's go take a look at UTEP and Texas State.
And listen, I think you can't undersell Oregon State and Washington State as football brands. There's in my mind, we need more movement. You need to add. I think the Pac-12 has to add football. You have to, because again, Oregon State and Washington State, you have to win. They have to be good for your conference to be good. It's imperative. And I think Scott Barnes at Oregon State, phenomenal athletic administrator. I'm sure that he will build them. But I just don't think that today you're far better than the Mountain West because you don't have a TV deal. Show me a TV deal. Show me who you've got to add more. And it's got to be better football. Because I would agree in basketball, I think you're fine. Football, you need more football. And I think the other thing you're going to fight is this perception that you're a regional conference, that you're a one-time zone conference, and that's going to be the perception. Is that the reality? Well, of course not, because you have Boise and you have Colorado State. So you're not just a one, but that's the perception. And I think that's going to hold you back a little bit. Sparsh for $2. Pac-12 greater than every other G5. Brand-wise, long-term. Okay. That's your opinion.
Yeah, that's your opinion, bro.
You can't we don't deal in emotions and opinions because I don't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
My emotions go down the toilet at Notre Dame. Okay, so
now I will say, just for the record, I was disappointed that the Pac-12 melted down the way it did. Like, as a college football fan, like I don't think anybody, even like the most ardent, Big Ten fan, I think was like, hey man, that sucks. That's not great. Like that was a sad thing. But I think, yeah, we just, I'm not sitting here having this discussion from a place where I feel like I got to defend either of these two. I'm just telling you from a business side, and we're just telling you from a business side, like this is the situation. I mean, you guys want to sit here again, Jim or anyone else, like I'm not even making it personal, but I'm just saying if your best argument is, hey, in your opinion, they have way better brands. Okay, sure. Maybe their brands are a little more recognizable, but from a business ops, college athletics standpoint, which is truly what matters, they're not in a better position yet. Now, I will say, if you go out and you get, that if that next football full member ad is a good one, and then you can get a good TV deal and you somehow find a way to, even if it's $11 million a year per school, that's that. Now we can talk about, hey, they're in a better spot.
If you add St. Mary's and you add a good football program, I would agree with you at that point, because now you have leverage. You have very clearly a better basketball product, which I think, again, is really important. But today, I don't think you can say that. All right, couple more, then we need to get to Davante Adams. JC, Pac-12 needs a presence in Texas to be legit. But what does that presence look like? Texas State's probably not probably not the one.
And can you afford it? Because I still think that's a huge challenge given, the lawsuit, the exit fees, the TV deal that you're trying to put together that most believe is going to be under 10 mil a year per school. Like I think for the PAC, that's really pushing it to go to Texas.
I agree. Tom Dean, did a fan of X team play for them? Did fan of Team X donate big money to them? Then why does fan of Team X take facts about them personally? It's what we do as fan. It's why fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah.
I'm very analytical about stuff. I don't, even most of my favorite teams, the only team I'm truly irrational about is the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago Bears are a great example. Notre Dame is a great example. I don't believe Marcus Freeman is a guy that can lead you to a national championship. His guys on defense are in the wrong spot in critical situations, as talented as they are, and he doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you credit. You've been negative. You've been negative about the Bears and Notre Dame since the preseason. I mean, that's you've been consistent on that.
Caleb Williams is not supposed to be elite. He does not have an offensive line, and they can't run the ball.
Yeah.
How are we expected? Take your emotion out of it. Analyze it.
Yeah.
Look at it from a historical perspective. Hidden Hawaiian. PAC is on par with current Sunbelt and AAC. They aren't even far better than the G5s right now. I think the key word is yet.
Yeah. We got to see what the finished product is.
Gonzaga gives them a energy and momentum. I think you get somebody like St. Mary's or GCU. Those are two good wins. Not both, or St. Mary's or GCU. And you need to go find football. You need to go find strong football. And I don't know how you do that. Yes, they need to get back to 12. Texas State and Sac State are a start. Okay, how much money do you put into FCS teams that get them to join your league? Because I think that's a big question. And again, how much liquidity does the Pac-12 have right now that they're tied up in what's going to be a long lawsuit? I think that's a big question. Because an interesting point is when this lawsuit, so the Pac-12 is suing the Mountain West to avoid paying poaching penalties. Now, as I've told you, it's a negotiation ploy. But what does that mean? When they go into court and make this argument, a judge is probably going to make them put the poaching penalties into an escrow account. So it's tens of millions of dollars. You're going to have to escrow that money, because what happens if you lose? If you lose, that money has to be paid. So it's a matter of, can you avoid a judge ordering you to put that money in escrow? Sure you can. Make your arguments. But if you lose that case, you're going to have to pay that money. So how liquid really is the Pac-12?
Right.
I think that's a big question. Wasikowski says the Sun Belt is the best G5.
Okay.
The AAC is by far, it's not close, the best G5. Kirk Mason, Memphis and Tulane would make the Pac-12 a tough football and basketball conference.
Again,
why is it that you guys can't understand that those brands are not leaving? You've heard, I've played it 100 times. The athletic director, Dr. Ed Scott at Memphis, he said the Pac 6 or 7 or whatever it's called. They're not, at this moment in time, that's not happening, and it's not possible. They have all, much like in the Mountain West, much like in the Pac-12, in the AAC, they have signed agreements that say, hey, in 2026, we're going to sign your grant of rights. They are binding agreements. So all of those universities, Tulane, Memphis, UCF, or USF, have all signed that agreement. And currently, I would remind you, everybody in the AAC, they're making $7 million on a $1 billion TV deal with ESPN. So I think you have to let it go. You have to let it go. In my estimation, you have to let it go. Mike Smith, emotions or not, you're giving opinions as well, but I'm giving opinions based on people I've spoken to in the middle of the situation. And when you look at the Pac-12, the number one thing that I've heard, they don't have relationships and they have a perception problem. The number two thing I've heard, they need to find a brand that can compete in football.
By the way, what have we been wrong about?
So I say this all the time on the show. The only difference between me and you is I have access to people who are directly in the middle of this situation. So, yes, is it my opinion? Yes, it's my opinion. But what is my opinion based on versus what is the average fan's opinion based on? That's the significant difference. It's why we have rules on this show like we don't talk off the top of our head. We don't talk from emotion. We talk about things that we know, and we base our opinions on information we have, which is why we're not usually... It's why you can't point to something where we've been just incredibly wrong. Like, whoa, you guys missed on that by a mile. Because we're not guessing. We're not guessing. I don't know. What would that be? A hypothesis, an educated guess?
Yeah.
I guess that's a difference. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. Last one, Phenomenal Hebrew. The Pac-12 football-wise is better than the AAC and the Mountain West. Okay. This is something we can hang on to. So you're telling me that you believe right now the Pac-12 is better than Army, Navy, North Texas, East Carolina, Tulane, Charlotte, Memphis, Florida Atlantic, South Florida, Tulsa, UTSA, UAB, Rice, and Temple. That's what you're standing on. That group of teams is not better than or is below this group of teams right here. Based on what do you make that belief? Because if I could work the graphic machine properly and stuff, that I cannot get down with. I disagree with you that's the case. Well, look at that.
I would love for, someone to not just tell us what they think, but to tell us why.
So tell me, and that I think is that's a really good point. So let's have that conversation.
Why is it? And again, I'm just curious. What's the rationale? Like so are you just simply saying that, hey, like you think Boise State, Oregon State, Washington State, and hell, I'll even give you San Diego State. You think those are better than the mix in the AAC? That's what you just think they're better.
I mean, I can make the argument that the Pac-12 is better football-wise than the Mountain West. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. You're in no way, shape, or form, in my opinion, able to make an argument that the AAC is lesser than or inferior to the Pac-12. And throw out the TV conversation. I'm just talking about on the football field. Because you look at the universities, and you look at Army, arguably one of the better defenses in the G5, might be the best defense in the G5. Navy, North Texas certainly is playing some really good football right now. I mean, who's the worst football program in the AAC? Probably Temple, Rice. But you go to UTSA is pretty solid. South Florida, not good. Solid, not good. But you go from Memphis up that chart, those are some pretty strong brands. Memphis, good brand, good football team.
East Carolina has good years.
East Carolina is a good football program.
Yeah.
Tulane's a good football program. Charlotte is North Texas, good football program. Navy and Army right now, good football programs. I don't know how you make the argument that Oregon State, Washington State, Fresno State. I mean, if I look at where they are right now today, Grant, still in the Mountain West. UNLV, probably the best football team.
Matt Sluka be damned.
They're 4-0. I mean, their defense is legit. But let's go to Fresno. Fresno can't stop anybody. So right now, is Fresno better than Memphis? They're not. Is Boise? I think Boise gives up a lot of points. And has Boise played a conference game yet? Boise's not played a conference game yet.
What does everyone talk about Boise State this year? Your running back. That's what everyone's talking about. And for good reason.
Yeah.
Guy can play.
Yeah, and you beat the hell out of Washington State, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is. Mateer's a hell of a quarterback. But
my point is just to wrap this up,
Genty's
dude.
great.
My ask is, hey, if you're gonna say, hey, this is what I think, like, hey, the Pac-12 is better than this. What's the why? Like Jim, what's your why? What's your justification for saying the Pac-12 is in a better spot, a far better position? They have far better brands. Is that just, hey, I recognize Boise State?
Isn't this the Big Ten conversation? The Big Ten making $100 million, well, they're a better football conference. No, they're not. The SEC, best football conference in the country.
Most complete football conference.
But who's the second best football conference? That's probably up for conjecture right now.
I mean, just on the field, it's probably the Big 12. Like, on the field, it's probably the Big 12. But
Florida State's crippling the ACC in this conversation.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think the second best conference. Michigan's way. This is why I say I take my emotion out of it. I analyze it. Ohio State is by far and away the best football team in that conference. But is Indiana legit at 5-0? I mean, if Indiana's legit, that brings the bottom half of that conference way up. Right? But Michigan can't score points. Is USC, is UCLA?
Yeah, those are the two horses you need
Oregon,
to lean on if you're the Big Ten guy. So the why behind the Big Ten being better, the argument you would make is, hey, I'm saying the Big Ten's better because I think USC, Oregon, those two squads plus Penn State would all beat the hell out of, the K-States, the Oklahoma States, the Iowa States.
I would agree.
Right. So when you look at these two conferences, if you're trying to defend the Big Ten, that's the argument you're going to make. Now, the argument Big 12 fans going to make is, hey, that might be true, but if you put, you put those teams in our conference and they got to play really solid competition every single week, they're not going to be one-loss teams, which I also agree with. So again, all I'm saying is take your emotion out of it. Give us more than, hey, the Pac-12's got far better brands.
Yeah,
I want to hear why.
I agree 100%. All right. The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. Is Devonte Adams going to get traded, and where does he end up? We'll tell you that in 15 seconds.
When you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. You deserve an advocate.
Indeed you do. You deserve an advocate. Quality, risk-free advice right now, today. In fact, 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com, where you never pay a penny to chat with an injury attorney. In fact, you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. All right, let's mix in some NFL here, because I think there's a very interesting situation brewing in Las Vegas with Davante Adams and the Las Vegas Raiders. Davante is probably, I don't think, even in doubt now, has played his last snap of football for the Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce doing what young and experienced head coaches do, liking a post, talking about a Davante Adams trade. Davante Adams reportedly demanded a trade, according to Adam Schefter at ESPN, and now the Las Vegas Raiders are letting teams know that they would be willing to trade Davante Adams for a second-round pick and further compensation, which means cash. Davante Adams has a good bit of coin left on his contract, and the question that I would ask is, yeah, he's got a good bit of coin left, but how much talent does he have left? How much gas is left in the tank? I think a good bit. And I think that there really are only a handful of teams, and if we're being honest, isn't there only one? And it's the Dallas Cowboys that should be trading for Davante Adams. You look at that situation in Dallas right now. You have Dak Prescott, a franchise quarterback. You have a guy in CeeDee Lamb, a franchise wide receiver that you paid both of those guys tons of money a few weeks ago, and you don't have a number 2 wide receiver. Devonte Adams is a great fit. Jake, should the Dallas Cowboys trade for Devonte Adams?
Yeah, well, I definitely think you should trade for Devonte Adams, especially coming off a situation where you claim that you didn't have enough money to sign Derrick Henry, and then Derrick Henry promptly came in and kicked your ass. Like, I think that was a bad look for Jara, and this is yet another opportunity to give Dak Prescott something to work with. And again, are you really going to sit there as a billionaire, as someone who has the money very clearly? You're really going to sit there and tell us that you couldn't figure out a way to go out and get this deal done with the Raiders? And this is Cowboy fans' plight in life. Hey, got quarterback, got some boys on defense, don't have anybody in the wide receiver room who's reliable. And yes, that would include CeeDee Lamb, because I don't call him reliable. He's talented. He'll make big plays. You'll see him on SportsCenter. But when you need him most, what do we get? Hits him in the hands. He drops it. Probably is not coming through for you. So if you're the Cowboys, yeah, I think adding Devonte Adams is an absolute, must, because that would create a dynamic where you've got now not one, but 2 guys the defense has to truly respect. But I also think if you're the Cowboys, you have to understand there's going to be a lot of competition in this situation. I think if you're the New York Jets, you need to take a serious run at this. You need to take a serious look at this, because this whole thing that's kind of, and maybe brewing is harsh, but just we're seeing it week in and week out, where Garrett Wilson is frustrated, feels like Aaron's not looking for him, feels like maybe Aaron's not finding him, like they're just not quite on that same page. To me, if you could add Devonte Adams and bring those 2 guys back together, Aaron Rodgers and Devonte, that would be a really pragmatic and smart move for a football team that has only one success factor. Did you win the Super Bowl or not? That's the only thing that matters for this team. And they essentially have 1 year to do it, given their cap situation. So to me, I think it's two teams, the Cowboys and the Jets. And sure, maybe other teams might take a look at it, but those are the 2 teams that I would look at as serious players to go out and take a run at Devonte.
Yeah, and what would you be willing to give up for Devonte? I think it's really interesting that they're only asking for a second. I'm really surprised they didn't at least try to get a first, but that tells me that the Raiders really want to make that trade happen. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm happy to give up a pick, and I'm happy to give up a lower round pick to go with it. I think in the NFL, we see on a regular where guys are traded for a pick. I think if you get a second round pick and you are able to renegotiate his contract, because again, I don't think if you are the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Jets, I would love to see the Chicago Bears go get him. I don't think that you can trade for Devonte Adams without renegotiating his deal.
Right.
His cash goes up significantly next year. I think he's in the mid-30s. It has to happen.
But look at the situation from Devontae's point of view, and I think this really will impact that contract negotiation situation that's definitely going to have to get worked out. To your point, Devonte Adams went to the Raiders thinking, hey, I'm gonna link up with Derek Carr, and this is going to be my Aaron Rodgers 2.0, and I'm going to get out from under Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to go show the league that I can ball out with another quarterback. That was kind of the play. And then Derek Carr promptly heads to New Orleans, and you haven't had a quarterback since, and it's been a dumpster fire since that.
Well, who's the dark horse? I would pick the Buffalo Bills to get in on this as well. You clearly need another wide receiver. You have a defense that I think is, as always, hurt, but competing. And you're going to have to, at some point, get in a shootout. And you need a guy like Devonte Adams. If you're going to go through, I think probably Baltimore is the odds-on favorite at this point. Thankfully, the Kansas City Chiefs are almost dead, mainly because Patrick Mahomes throws himself on the ground and Travis Kelce's washed. Baltimore's very good. Chiefs, I hate to even say it out loud, are very good. Still, they're always a threat to three-peat here. But if you put Devonte on the Buffalo Bills, does that put them in a position where they can now compete at the top of the AFC?
I think so. I mean, I think the big takeaway from that, that Ravens Bills matchup was, hey, like the Bills just weren't good enough offensively to compete. You didn't have enough weaponry to make that defense respect you, because that's ultimately what happens. And I think this could be lost on some people. If you watch football regularly, this isn't lost on you, but for the casual observer, if you don't have enough wide receivers or threats that are going down the field, the defense doesn't have to go down the field. The defense doesn't have to respect what you don't have. And so, I mean, if you can add Devonte, that changes everything. And I think we know what Josh Allen's capable of, as far as deep shots and getting the ball to Devonte. Like, I think that'd be a nice matchup. But I don't know, man. Are the Bills an organization that prioritizes offense to that level?
No, you have the wrong guy as the head coach in Buffalo. I maintain that. And I also think the other team that I would bring up here is the Kansas City Chiefs. And with Patrick Mahomes ending Rashee Rice's season because he threw himself on the ground like a dumb NFL quarterback trying to make a tackle.
Which is just kind of weird.
Yeah, which is why quarterbacks shouldn't be trying to make tackles. You don't have a number 2 receiver now. And if you lose, and I don't know how that ACL is not torn. Come on. I don't know who is even the second best receiver on that team. How about Xavier Worthy?
Yeah.
Because Travis Kelce, in my opinion, he ain't coming back. He's washed. Davante Adams is exactly what they need there. He can be a possession guy. He's a great route runner. He can be a down the field guy. If you're serious, how many teams have had the opportunity to three-peat in the history of the NFL?
Yeah, and I also think for the Chiefs, there's rumors swirling before this Devontae situation developed the way it has. There were rumors swirling that the Chiefs were going to go and try and take a run at getting Tyreek Hill back. Now that the Dolphins are basically done for the season, their season's pretty much over.
I just think that Xavier Worthy is this great player. And I know Kansas City Chiefs fans got in our comment section a few weeks ago about this, but just because a guy can run a great fly sweep or run a post does not mean that he is a wide receiver that you can build your passing attack on.
Right.
And if Travis Kelce is truly not an elite player anymore, Devonte Adams is exactly what Andy Reid's offense needs. And I would personally be, if I were in a position to make this deal, I would be super aggressive about it. If I am any of the top 3 teams, if I am the Detroit Lions, if I am the 49ers, just have so many injury issues. And I think their cap would be heavily impacted by this. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, why would the Baltimore Ravens not make a phone call here? Right? Why would you not? Why would the Jets, the Chiefs, if you are the Los Angeles Chargers, if you are the LA Rams with Cooper Kupp, why are you not making phone calls here? If you are the beloved, the Chicago Bears, my Chicago Bears should be making a phone call here. Keenan Allen can't stay healthy. Now, I'd rather you make a phone call and trade for an offensive lineman, but here nor there.
49ers, this McCaffrey situation is really hurting
their
them.
Cap, I was looking at their cap last night as I was laying in bed thinking about all of you. I was thinking about I was thinking about the 49ers and looking at their salary cap, and
I know it's not good.
It's
not good.
It is. You would have to make some very tough choices, but isn't Davante Adams an upgrade to Debo? Brandon Ayuk has had a very difficult time under the weight of that deal and missing training camp. I mean, they just don't. They don't have. I don't know that you want to commit that kind of cap space to Davante Adams, because I think you're going to have to move on from McCaffrey. I think you're going to eventually have to move these pieces around.
I think the team that's got the most upside, like hey, if we add Devontae, it helps us the most, is probably the Cowboys. Because at that point,
you're going to talk about cap space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously, right? I mean, their cap situation is tough, but I still maintain, I think, the thing is, the difference between the Cowboys and the 49ers when it comes to the cap, obviously the money's different, but like Jerry Jones is out here constantly saying that they're all in and they're trying to win. And it's this whole thing where it's like, hey, you want to tell us one thing, but then you want to use the excuse of, hey, we didn't have enough money to go after Derrick Henry, so we brought in a cooked Zeke, and that's not really working out for us. Like, at some point, Jared's going to have to go in and say, okay, yeah, we're going to make this work, because if you guys remember, the Cowboys, when the Cowboys are good, they have got a no doubt about it best wide receiver in the league type guy on that roster. And they haven't really had that guy since Dez. Honestly, you haven't really had that type of personality since Dez Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, Devonte has an option at the end of 2024, but he's also not going to give up. I mean, he's looking, you guys, at $72 million.
Defer.
Right, he's got a $44 million cap hit. I would restructure his deal and do what's got to be done. And just looking at the situation, I think the Dallas Cowboys, if they restructure that deal, they probably could fit him under. But isn't this why you don't pay a guy like Max Crosby $30 million and Gardner Minshew $8 million?
Yeah.
Isn't that why you this is why you have to have cap management. And it's what makes the San Francisco 49ers situation, I think, so important right now in the moment, because you still have leverage over Brock Purdy in his contract, which is still a really young guy at a really reasonable number.
I mean, it's the Browns restructuring with Deshaun, putting in, hey, like, you got to play a certain amount of games. You got, like, protecting themselves from him being out for the year, because of that contract being so arduous. Like, I just think that teams like to say one thing and then don't want to go out and deliver the goods in the war room to go out and take advantage of the play. Because this is where Super Bowls are won and lost. Let's be really clear. I mean, whoever gets this guy, assuming it's a playoff contender who gets him, which I would think it would be. Yeah. I mean, this could be a potential Super Bowl winning move. Like, you're talking about a guy who can go out and beat man over coverage on his own. Like, that's a huge luxury to have.
Yeah, and I think you're right about Cleveland. That Deshaun Watson, converting that money into a signing bonus opened up $36 million, $35 million in cap space for them. Like, that's what you need to make deals like this.
So you're telling me that they can do that with Deshaun, but Jarrah can't figure it out? Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I would go out of my way to make this deal if I were a contender, if I were any of the, because again, and maybe we play the power ranking game here, which we usually do in the NFL on Thursdays, but you look at Davante Adams, who's the best team in the AFC right now? I mean, I think you have to say Baltimore.
Yeah.
Based on the things we've seen, but I think I can make the argument for Pittsburgh to go make this deal. They don't have a clear number one behind Pickens, and I don't even know that Pickens is a clear number one. He's an upgrade for them. He's an upgrade in Buffalo. Baltimore, and I get it. They've what are they, 2-2? Baltimore, it makes sense. Kansas City, it makes sense. I would do it.
I agree with the Charger take. That makes a lot of sense.
You have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? So I would make a phone call. I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense for a team like Minnesota, who at some point has to come back down to earth, right?
That defense isn't going to come back down to earth. They're beating teams through scheme on defense, not through just crazy plays.
Their defense is dominant right now.
That defense is going to be there all year.
But their offense isn't bad.
Yeah.
But what about the Commanders? What about the Commanders?
See, and again, if I'm the Commanders, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, hey, our rookie quarterback's balling out for us.
And our defense isn't great. They're competitive. They're better.
Yeah.
Your defense in Washington's not great.
But can you imagine Terry McLaurin and Davante Adams? I mean, that's lethal, bro. That's like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you can go up and down the league here and you can say, okay, cool, here's this team. What would it do to change their season? And I think when we look at the playoff contenders, like I look at the Eagles, this coverage of Jalen and Sirianni's relationship is getting deep now, bro. Stop. It's every day that people are talking about it. And I only bring them up just to say adding a guy like Devonte could be the injection of energy and positivity that maybe that room needs. But again, we'll see. We'll see. But I don't think Devonte at this point in his career, having never won, is looking to go to, with all due respect, the Bears.
The Eagles.
But the Eagles have won. The Eagles have shown the ability to get there.
If I'm Davante Adams, I'm not going from the Raiders to the Raiders. I'm not doing this, because isn't that what you're doing? You're leaving drama to go to drama?
Yeah, but the Eagles drama is potentially playoff good drama. The Raiders are garbage.
No. Well, I I get that the Eagles have a need. The need is not the question.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni is a disaster. I'm not going to if that's my mindset that a playoff, and I'll take the Bills.
Yeah.
Who I think absolutely should make a call.
I think Ravens, Bills, Cowboys, those Jets.
I don't even know that I want the Jets with Bobby Saleh. I don't know that I want the Jets.
Well, he'd be going there not for Bob.
He'd be going there for ayahuasca guy.
Yeah, he'd be going there for first team all darkness retreat.
Yeah, I don't. That's tough, dude. Yeah. I think it is. I think it is very difficult.
Yeah.
If you are Devonte, who's the best team in the NFL right now?
Oh, I think you got to say the Ravens.
Even at 2-2.
Yeah, I think the Ravens heard the noise about Derrick Henry, and I really believe this. I don't think this was just a matchup thing, although I do think the matchup favored them running with Derrick Henry the way they did. But I think that Lamar got questioned from the media about why they're not using Derrick. John Harbaugh got questioned about that. And what did they do? They went out and they said, okay, dude, here's your game. Show us why you get paid as much as you do. And what did Derrick Henry do? He ran over your ass repeatedly.
That 87-yard run.
I mean, it's just domination. So to me, yeah, they're 2-2. Yeah, is their season on the line every week going forward until you can get 8 or 9 wins stacked up? Yeah, it is. Absolutely. But who's playing the best football? The Ravens are playing the best football right now. And that's why they've got, that's why they're back to 2-2.
I can't wait to see how this trade goes down. There's a lot of people that think it's going to happen this week. It'll be quick, which I hope it is. And I hope it's a contender. I hope it's somebody at the top. I would love, again, as much as I'm not a Chiefs fan, I love that mindset. Yeah. You have a chance to three-peat. Let me go get Davante Adams.
Yes.
And let me tell Patrick he's never allowed to make a tackle.
Combination, dude.
But I'm serious.
Like Davante with Xavier is crazy. That's
Davante with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's tough.
What would be, and he's a good cold weather wide receiver.
Yeah, he's used to it.
He's used to it in Green Bay. I don't think he fixes the Jets. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination he'd fix whatever that is in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. And I think he wants to win. And so I think
people forget that about Davante. He hasn't won yet. Like they went to the playoffs in Green Bay, but he hasn't won a Super Bowl.
Totally agree. Kirk Mason, Vikings looking scary. Although, again, while I was laying in bed thinking about all of you last night, it's not like they've beaten the world. How good are the Vikings?
I think the defense is in the conversation. Yes, they're good. Brian Flores is a defensive wizard. I would expect nothing
Giants,
less.
Niners, Texans, and Packers.
They'll be in all those games, and I'd expect them to win like 3 or 4 of
That's who they beat.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's Jets, Lions, Rams are their next 3.
The Jets will be a good test. Good defense.
It's in Minnesota.
Yeah. I think the only question with the Vikings, it's very simple. Is Sam Darnold hot right now, or has he developed into this guy who can make these throws?
Because statistically, he looks like a guy that's just playing really solid football.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
He's not somebody that has these. I mean, he's completing 69% of his passes. He's only putting up 233 yards a game, so it's not like he's had some crazy spike of offense. He looks like a guy that's really solid, and having seen a bunch of his throws, he's putting the ball in a position where his guy can make a play after the catch. He's not missing behind or high. He's putting it on the guy, and I think you got to give him credit for that. He is, but the one thing that worries you is he has taken 10 sacks in 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have some concern for that. But Kirk, I don't disagree. The Vikings, the Lions are really good. The Lions are good. UW fan Jim, great show, guys. We can disagree, but I respect your sources and love the show. Yeah, it's all good, man. Convergence of opinion. I'm not mad at all.
Again, I hope you understand. Leaving that conversation, my only ask was why you think the things you do. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah,
that's it.
I agree. Chris E., hello. Good to see you, Chris. Eagles missing all their wide receivers to injury. Every single one of them. Chris, I think
somehow
Chris,
that's not their biggest problem.
Answer the phone. The Eagles are looking for a wide receiver, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like, can we pick up the phone here, dude? Like, come on.
Oh, that Devonte. Oh, man.
Keep it real.
Hit the like button, Case says. Go, KC, all the way. I agree. The mayor. Holy poo. Adams with the Chief doesn't seem fair. You kidding? Can you imagine that? Mayor McCluskey, can you imagine that? I cannot imagine that. The Mayor University.
Well, and
The
with
Mayor
you know
University.
with the Chiefs employing the 12th guy on the field, I mean, it's going to be hard for them to lose.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I can't. Patrick Mahomes and Devonte Adams is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because what does that do? That makes Travis Kelce a better player.
Way better player.
And to finally your guy, Xavier Worthy,
Yeah.
all Xavier Worthy has to do is count the hash marks to the goal line. That's it. And Devontae's actually a pretty good blocker as well. Don't forget that. He's pretty good at the point of attack. Fat old Mormon and dying. The Chiefs are the new Patriots. People will go to KC on discount just to ring chase.
Yes.
That's a really good point. I don't disagree about that.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that. Dan Davis, here for your daily dose of unreasonable Pac-12 hate. Keep it coming, boys. See, again, I don't hate the Pac-12.
And again, we don't talk on emotion the way you do.
Phenomenal Hebrew. The NFL is scripted if Kansas City three-peats.
Bro, you were so pissed last week. You came in on Monday and said that it's rigged. You literally did.
The officiating helped that Kansas City. I send Jake Instagram videos pretty much every day I follow a bunch of NFL accounts. All you get from me on Instagram is golf swings, and all I do is follow NFL accounts. The tape that's out there of just how easy the NFL has made it for the Chiefs to win games. And then you get Pat Mahomes throwing himself on the ground, knocking out Rashee Rice for the year.
Nice job, Pat. Thanks, dude.
Can we all just agree? Quarterbacks, if you throw an interception and it's being run back, just get out of the way. Please don't do it. And Patrick Mahomes throws himself on the ground. I look like the 49ers. I don't want Brock Purdy making tackles. Even Christian, do you guys hear that Christian McCaffrey has bilateral,
Monty?
He has tendonitis in both of his Achilles tendons. Bilateral Achilles tendonitis.
We'll see you next year.
How? How, dude? Mike Smith, the officiating has been bad this season, even worse than normal. I'm not the only one.
No, I mean, I agree. I think that they're really cracking down on the Jawan Taylor getting his first step off the line play.
When did that start?
Last week.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
What?
Just because you throw it once.
They didn't throw it once. He had 5 penalties last week.
Who cares? It should be 10.
It's never good.
It's every
that's
snap.
The problem with guys like you, dude. It's never good enough. It's never good enough.
Admittedly, I hate.
I can look around the league and find
Chiefs.
a bunch of dudes that hold on every play.
They do.
And I think that.
But it's the Browns holding penalty that pisses me off.
It is. That's a bad call.
But it's what I always say about officiating. It's not the call you make, it's the one you don't.
Yeah.
You don't call pass interference on the Chiefs. You let the offensive lineman jump offside every single
just
time.
Just because he took Buddy out in the end zone on a game-winning throw? What's the problem?
Mayor McCluskey, my Kia has bilateral tension in the gas tank. Exactly.
I get it.
Brandon,
I get that.
I get it. How about this Dan Campbell story? And I know I touched on this last week. Did you guys hear about he got doxxed by a jilted lover of his daughter? True story. Dan Campbell living his finest life. Guy's a stud, beautiful family, gazillion-dollar mansion. And all of a sudden, people start showing up at his house when they lose games. What the hell?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
How did they get my address? Huh. Well, it turns out a dude that was smitten with Dan Campbell's daughter doxed him on social media, put his address out on social media. How do we know this? Because Dan Campbell's wife called the kid's mom. Oh, he would never do that. He supposedly erased it. It got so bad with fans showing up at Dan Campbell's house, they had to move.
Dude.
They sold the house, bought a new one. They had to move because this little rugrat doxed his daughter.
Bro.
What are you doing?
Idiots.
Brandon Butler. It's been raining flags this year. The flow of games is getting disrupted. I hate it. Mike Smith. Last week, they called a face mask versus the Giants when it was clear it should have been on Dallas. That would never happen. Skeeters. Dallas gets a lot of calls. Fat old Mormon and dying. Breathe on Patrick Mahomes. 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty and instant ejection.
Yeah, we're not making any changes.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes is down. Quickly, get a shot of Taylor Swift. Show me Taylor Swift.
I got the YouTube TV.
Goddamn time. Right? The only reason the NFL is helping the Chiefs is so that Swifty Nation keeps watching games and buying tickets.
Here I am.
You want to know how many people watch? Look at this graphic. Look at how many people. Right? A lot of people watching the college football game. Right? Amazing.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide, baby.
Right? Amazing. So many people. 12 million viewers. Did you guys see? And I need to take the graphic. The peak on the Georgia-Alabama game was 14 million people.
Roll Tide.
The NFL is pulling. What do you think the NFL is pulling for their primetime games?
I mean, I honestly don't know, but 20
million people.
Is it 20?
Yeah,
dude.
I said so. The Georgia-Alabama game, the biggest game of the year. The biggest game of the year. And you're telling me you're pulling 20 million people for the NFL. And they're like, damn, our numbers are down. We only had 20 million viewers.
NFL's different, bro.
And look at these numbers. 4 million for Kentucky, Ole Miss. Kentucky. Ole Miss pisses me off. Oklahoma, Auburn, 5 million. The most watched regular season primetime game of any network since 2017.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't beat the NFL.
Nope.
Gotta get them Swifties in here, bro.
A lot.
She's quadruple platinum and stuff. Bring them to the house. Show her in the booth. Like, I understand it. I understand it. Prize Picks, the official daily fantasy partner of the Monty Show. You guys download the app. Tomorrow we'll have Thursday night football picks for Prize Picks. But last night, again, I'm going to stop.
You should stop
being in bed. I was looking at the NFL Prize Picks last night. There's not a great promo. I think one of the more interesting ones, Sam Darnold against the Jets. His demon number is 249.5, which means that's going to be hard for him to get. His normal number 224.5.
Against the Jets?
Against the Jets.
Yeah, you can't take that demon, dude.
Lamar's at 211.5 against Cincinnati.
What's Jaden Daniels at?
Jaden Daniels is at 224.5 against Cleveland.
See, that's one I'd take. I like that. Is that a demon number?
No demon available on him.
Yeah, I would take that. Yeah.
Kyler Murray, 231.5 against Sam Frog Disco.
No, not taking that.
You're not taking that.
No.
Patrick Mahomes, 242.5 against the Saints. Justin Fields, 183. This is one of the ones I want to pick.
Hold up. You just said Justin Fields, 180 what?
Justin Fields against Devonte Adams' future teammates in Dallas. Justin Fields, 183.5 yards against Dallas on Sunday Night Football. You got to take more on that.
Have to.
Right?
That's got Dallas messing it up all over.
I would agree. Bo Nix, 176.5 against Las Vegas. Deshaun Watson, 203.5 against Washington. Who's good, not great. There's a lot of winnable numbers on Prize Picks in the NFL this week. My guy,
Caleb Williams. He's on discount, half a yard.
Can I just have 5 minutes of freedom from you on Caleb Williams? Mom, what color are the nails this week, Marty?
Yeah, is he saying F you to someone this week?
Can I just have one day where I don't have to talk about Caleb Williams being a bust?
No.
Or that, no, hey, Marty,
No.
look, you guys
No.
are in last place.
No.
And Caleb Williams, he's no Justin Fields, but he'll do.
Ministry.
Caleb Williams is fine. And then I see the Prize Picks number against Carolina, the worst team in the NFL, arguably, 215.5.
I think I've hit it every time.
You playing baseball today?
Shut up. I might. Do you guys understand that Carolina's defense? How many points do you think Carolina's how many points do you think Carolina's defense has given up? The best defense in the league right now has given up 50 points. It's the LA Chargers. How many points would you estimate Carolina has given up?
That has to be more than 100.
129.
Yeah.
So Caleb Williams at 215.5?
I think that's reasonable.
What?
What?
It should be like 355 and 4 scores.
They want you to win.
Caleb Williams is the greatest quarterback since Justin Fields.
Okay, see, now you're slurping them. You know what I mean?
You're a homer is the first part.
Take your emotion out of it, Marty.
Hold on, bro. Like
215.5
against Carolina.
215. You understand that Caleb Williams has 2 arms, right? 215.5.
Man, buddy's got 10 nails. We can see it across the field, man.
Who are you, Marcus Freeman? 215.5 is an insult.
Yeah.
It is.
Bro.
Thomas, it's not funny. It's not funny, Thomas. Hey, Morty. Ryan Leaf. He's no Caleb Williams, but he'll do. The mayor of Monty Town. Why did you come back to this show?
You want to explain that?
Caleb Williams is no Rick Meyer, but he'll do. Don't you talk about Notre Dame like that. That's a Notre Dame blast and a Chicago Bears blast.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Why do you say hurtful thing, Kay? Even Kay Nurin is doing it. When Kay Nurin is busting your balls, the Bears equal the Jets with a QB. Thank you. Is that a compliment? I don't think it is. Thomas? Real Trent Dilfer? Trent Dilfer. The Dilf, you're bringing in a Dilf. That's not funny. What actually is. It's not funny. 215.5. Yeah, I'll play some Prize Picks baseball today. I have to go. I'm probably on Lindor today, but we'll see. I don't know. Caleb Aylmore. How about Purdy leading the league in yards without all his supposed weapons, dude?
Yeah, buddy can play.
The money he's going to make.
Yep.
Is, Mike Smith, bilingual injuries can really talk to you. Man, them Achilles tendons are bilateral, and let me tell you, they're chirping. I'm saying, yes, I read that one already. My apology. No. Stop it, Mayor. Purdy is about to get paid, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Dude. Rex Grossman is still the last Bears quarterback to lead the team to a Super Bowl.
Thank you for living up to it, bro.
What, you couldn't use Kyle Orton?
Yeah.
Couldn't pull an Eric Kramer out of your head? Oh, God. Pete Lecoq was probably the worst player to wear.
Macaque.
Pete Lecoq?
Macaque.
Gary Woods? You couldn't pull a Gary Woods or a Leon Durham. You had to go Pete Warren Brewstar.
Hiscock.
You couldn't go. You had to go Pete Lecoq. Whatever. Hey, Trent did win a Super Bowl. He did. He won a Super Bowl. It's fine. I'll see you guys. I'll be okay. I'll be wrapped up in a blanket with my binky on Sunday as Caleb Williams throws for 350 yards. I'm not even like
Marty, you got to take your emotion out of it, man.
Shut up, Jay. The Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
How many yards do you think he's thrown for in 4 games?
787.
The problem is he's only completing 61% of his passes. He's not what's wrong with the Bears.
But you don't agree with Chris, I don't know, football Broussard?
It's fine. It's fine. Okay.
All
right. Let's move on. Can we talk about a couple of non-sports topics here on the Monty Show? Because we got to talk about Golf Guy. to end the show today, Taco Bell's coming up, but we got to talk about golf, guy. So I had a terrible weekend with the driver this past weekend. And we've talked about my suffrage on the golf course with the driver in the past. When I'm hitting it good, I'm 300. I shoot in the middle 70s when I'm driving the ball well.
Right.
That was not this weekend. I shot in the low 90s on Sunday up at Bonneville. I think I finished with a 94. Like, I haven't shot in the 90s in a long time. That's how bad the driver was. Shot a 94. Go out to the range last night, and I just grind on the driver. I think it was probably 50, 60 driver swings. Finally figured out in the last 20, 30 swings, I was rushing it at the top of the swing. So the last 10 swings were really pure. High draws. I had my flight scope out there. I used the flight scope for the first time, like in an open driving range setting. It's amazing. It is amazing. Had the flight scope out there. Adam Schefter. 2 teams high on Davante Adams' wish list. The Jets and Saints, per league sources.
He likes Derek Carr, man. He really likes Derek Carr.
Well, they went to Fresno State together.
I know, but like, you have options here, bro. Like,
if you're Davante Adams, Chiefs and Cowboys or Jets and Saints?
Hey, man, if the guy wants to play with Derek Carr, I guess I get it, but
that's not a Super Bowl team.
No.
I'd be really disappointed if he ended up in New Orleans.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's continue.
Okay. So the last 10 swings were really good. I had my flight scope out there. I hit a 320-something yard, really beautiful drive. You know those drives where you hit it and you're just like, bro.
Stay hard.
Like, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I was able to replicate that several times. And so I have this feel. So my problem was I was being too quick. I wasn't making a full turn at the top. I was rushing the downswing. Okay, great. So I post the video on my Instagram. And this guy's like, dude, that's a slice. I want that ball sliced. And I don't understand why everybody thinks they're a golf coach.
Yeah.
And I say all the time, I am not somebody who should be teaching people how to swing golf clubs. We talk about little things. We play golf together all the time. So
yeah,
we can tell each other, well, hey, it looks like I am not anybody to teach you how to play golf.
Mm-hmm.
It's why Darren Ingram, my golf coach, my swing coach, Darren Ingram, that's a PGA teaching professional. Monty, not a PGA teaching professional.
I think golf is one of the hardest things to teach because everyone's like, oh, well, generally, like, you swing the club the same way every time. And it's like, no, dude, actually, you don't swing the club the same way every time. And everybody's swing is actually different. And the way you swing it isn't going to work for me, or the way I swing it isn't going to work for you. Like, that's the hard part with golf, is like, there are these certain things, these certain checkpoints in your swing that you're trying to hit, but the way you hit them is different for everybody.
Yes. And I always say, swing your swing. I swing my swing. It's not pretty a lot of times. You guys know I've grinded on my irons. I have a whole thing in my backyard, but I don't get why people love to bring misery to social media. And maybe that's what this conversation is.
Yeah.
This guy arguing with me about how it was a slice. I almost never slice my driver. When I miss right, it's a rocket right, because I'm trying to hit a draw and I'm not doing it correctly. And so the ball just takes a hard straight line to the right. This guy is the slice guy. Like, he hits benders to the right like it's nobody's business. Even though you did have the best driver weekend I've seen in some time.
Yeah.
But I never hit a slice. So I don't understand why social media tough guy happens. Because you guys know, generally I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. That's it. I don't use Insta Snapface, TikTok. I'm just not a big fan of it. I use Instagram and I use Twitter, and I don't really use Twitter. I don't get into my DMs much. I almost never respond to notifications.
Hello, Instaface.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. For golf, I use Instagram all the time. And I have a partnership with PXG, so I'm always posting videos. But it's so last year, we were up at Canyons, and I had driven a ball into a bunker. And it was a 300-yard shot to the green. And so I'm in the bunker, and I've got a 3-wood in my hand. And this guy, I put the shot on social media because it was a great shot. Like a 280-yard shot that rolled up onto the green was amazing. And this guy's like, yeah, that shot, you got to take a stroke there, bro. You put your club in the sand. You grounded your club. I'm like, oh, I should have probably told the rules official when I signed my scorecard at the end of the round, right? I don't play on the PGA Tour, man.
Yeah.
I'm not signing scorecards, and we don't have rules officials.
Dude, I think the hard part with golf is that people want to... Golf is one of those sports where, like, so few people... What I would say your average Joe player, which is what I would consider myself as. I think you're better than most people out there when you're playing your best game. But for me, like, I'm sitting there saying, hey, like, I'm not concerned with grounding my club. Like, I'm not trying to give myself a better lie, but I'm not going to penalize myself for setting my club on the ground in the bunker. That's just not, I'm not doing that. And I think that people love to stick it to golf influencer personality. They love to say, oh, well, you grounded your club.
Your swing sucks.
Your swing's terrible. And it's like, it gets to a point where you have to put the flight scope data on your story to like prove that you didn't slice it, even though in the video, anybody who golfs can clearly see that the way you hit the ball would induce a draw, not a slice. And so it's just, it's just one of those things where I think social media is really toxic. We have this Kyle Whittingham clip where the media is asking him, hey, well, Cam's taking a bunch of heat. Is there anything you can do to help him? And Witt's like, I don't know what you're talking about because I'm not on social media. And I think it's a perfect representation of this conversation. Didn't work. Sorry.
Guy.
I made a mistake. Sorry. I don't know how that happened.
Kyle Whittingham basically said, I don't get on social media, so I don't hear that.
Yeah.
But I agree. Social media is toxic. It's not nearly as toxic as Taco Bell. So apparently Taco Bell sets the National Taco Day now. You send me the story and I'm just like, why does anybody base their taco knowledge or activities on Taco Bell? I don't understand.
I'm not a Taco Bell guy. And for whatever reason, Taco Bell, decided, because for them, they were setting National Taco Day on the 4th, which would have been Friday. But they decided this year, for whatever reason, they wanted to put it on Tuesday in an effort to align with Taco Tuesday.
Okay.
And
now we gotta go back to Devonte Adams.
Oh God. I can't just talk about crapping myself with Taco Bell without Devonte coming up.
No, you can't. Because Adam Schefter, ESPN, the team not expected to be an option is
Dallas Cowboys.
The Kansas City Chiefs, per sources, will not be pursuing Devonte Adams. Devonte Adams has made it clear he wants to play with a quarterback that he knows, which is why the Jets and Saints, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, are former teammates in ideal landing spots, according to Devonte. While the Jets and Saints interest in Adams, there are other teams that remain interested in Devonte Adams, least of which is the Kansas City Chiefs, who will not be pursuing him.
All right, man.
So
I don't want to hear later this year in the playoffs that you didn't have enough weapons. I don't want to hear that.
Isn't this Derrick Henry and the Dallas Cowboys who can't run the football?
Yeah.
You're on the precipice of three-peating, making all-time history. And the Kansas City Chiefs are now saying they do not want to pursue Devonte Adams. That's a little surprising to me.
Yeah.
I am. Is there a better fit? Well, and Giggity makes a good point. Why would the Chiefs need Devonte when they have the refs? I mean, that's a good point. But are you guys really surprised? I'm surprised that the Chiefs wouldn't pursue him. That seems like a championship organizational type move. And I think the Chiefs are a phenomenal organization. I don't happen to be a fan, but what does that matter? I think they're a phenomenal organization.
Yeah. Andy
Reid's the best offensive mind of his generation. And you're not pursuing Devonte Adams.
Yeah. And I think it's I don't know. They at least with them, they're not giving us a reason as to why. They're just saying they're not. Like, Like, they're not saying it's a cap issue, or like, I'm guessing that's what it is. That would be my guess.
But if you're Davante Adams and you can, let's use the Saints for an example.
Yeah.
You can go play with Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs would like to trade for you. You can go play with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints would like to trade for you. You're not going to the Saints, are you? Are you really? That seems...
I mean, the only thing that I could put together here to make the Saints make sense is obviously the Derek Carr angle, but also if you look back at the Saints situation, that's a dome team, right? That's a team that plays indoors half the year, and that's a team that likes to push it down the field. That's a team that's got, Kamara's having a nice little start to the year. You've got some good things happening there, but it does surprise me that Devonte does not seem to prioritize winning. To me, this is something we talk about in sports all the time. Hey, like, is this a guy that prioritizes winning? Does he prioritize getting paid? Does he prioritize the day-to-day and just enjoying his career? Like, where's he at in that realm? And I think this behavior and this messaging would signal to me that he just wants to play with guys he likes and knows and enjoys being around, because he knows he's going to get paid, to the moon. We all know that based on his deal. So he just wants to enjoy the day-to-day, which I have no problem with, by the way. I have no problem with that.
You're going to have to renegotiate his deal.
Yes, you are. Yes. And I'm sure he knows that.
Here's Diana Rossini now. The Jets and Cowboys are among many teams monitoring Davante Adams' situation. Both have checked in with the Raiders. I'm told at this point that the Raiders... that Vegas is in no rush to make a move until a team reaches their asking price, but Adams wants out ASAP. So the Jets and Cowboys are teams known to now be interested.
I'm curious when we get the update on what the asking price is, because right now...
they are saying it's a second-round pick plus more compensation.
Well, they might be saying that, but what else did Rossini say there? Hey, someone's going to have to meet what we want.
A second-round pick. My guess is it is a second-round pick in either a player or cash to go with that.
Yeah.
So that is...
I don't like that. If that's the price, if that's the truth and not just what they're saying, then that's fine. But part of me, for whatever reason, I don't have a good why. It's just what my gut tells me is that this feels like a situation where maybe the Raiders might posture a little bit and say, hey, oh yeah, second round pick, little compensation, maybe a player. Yeah, that'll get that done.
Hey, mate, if the Bears send us Keenan Allen in a second-round pick, we could do that deal, right?
Right? Like, you're posturing to get phone calls. You're saying, hey, low barrier of entry here, but let's have a bunch of calls come in. And now, because think about it, if the Cowboys or the Jets had got on the phone with them and that was the deal, how is this not done already? Right? If all you wanted was a second-rounder, some compensation, maybe another secondary player.
Oh, because I think you're waiting to hear from multiple teams. They're not in a hurry because they want to get their maximum value.
But isn't it fair to say that this has been going on for a minute?
Well, and I think it's fair to say all the people saying that Davante Adams, because Davante stays as a trending hashtag with the Raiders. Antonio Pierce on Twitter liked a post that said Davante Adams had likely played his last game with the Raiders. And Davante Adams went on a podcast, and I want to make sure I get this right. Up and Adams. I don't know where that is, so forgive me.
It's on FanDuel.
FanDuel TV.
Yeah.
He went on Up and Adams and said there's been no communication with anybody from the Raiders. He has not even talked to Antonio Pierce. So you can't tell me he's going back.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
Well, and I think, for his sake, with all due respect to the Raiders, he needs to be playing on a better team than that, dude. Like, the Raiders, hey, nice stadium, Las Vegas, cool. He needs to be going somewhere where he can make a true impact because the team is good enough with him to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I still maintain you need to be a Super Bowl caliber team. Like, there's a lot of people talking about Tampa.
No.
Mike Evans isn't that guy anymore. And I think as much as I like Chris Godwin, that doesn't make them a Super Bowl contender, mainly because the quarterback. And I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's terrible. I just don't think with that team right now. I think it's, again, I'll go Buffalo. The Jets, I think he helps the Jets on offense. The Commanders and the Chiefs and the Cowboys, those five. Those are the five I would think. And I just don't think that Devonte, I hope this is not true, that he wants to play with friends. I really hope that's not true. Because that would be massively disappointing.
You can't tell me if he had the opportunity to go play with Jaden Daniels. And I know he's a rookie. I know it's early in the year. I know. But he has shown immense arm talent. So to me, it just doesn't make sense that you would ignore that.
Why? Mayor McCluskey, Adams should go to the Bears and team up with Vince Evans. Jake doesn't even know who Vince Evans is. He was one of the great USFL quarterbacks in a Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
Not legend. Bob Avellini. Anyway. UW fan Jim, maybe the Chiefs don't want the disruption. Players demanding trades can be bad mojo.
Well, but and that's fair. But I also this isn't Devonte just out of the blue. This has been building. This has been something that, like, ever since Derek Carr left, we've been talking about this, and it's just now coming to fruition. So, we've gotten the Devonte clips on the sideline. Where he's talking about, I'm getting hit more than I ever have in my career. I'm going to die out here. Like,
but don't you regret leaving the Packers at this point?
Yes.
Right? I think you regret that 100%. All right, couple more. Fat old Mormon and dying. Sounds like Devonte just wants a paycheck and doesn't want to be a winner. I guess the check cashes the same either way.
But I don't think we should vilify him for that, bro.
I mean, he earned the contract he's on.
Like, if he just wants to play with guys he likes playing with and winning the Super Bowl isn't as much of a priority for him, cool, dude. That's your prerogative, man.
I can't even get down with that way of thinking. I'm just so competitive. I want to win. Dan says, could it be that the Raiders just don't want to trade Devonte to their biggest nemesis? Could be.
That could very well be. Yes, that could very well be.
Could absolutely be right. Mike Smith, Mountain Mama. Adams might be one of the smartest guys. So many times we see these big players go to other teams for money and ring chasing and end up hating it.
Yeah.
It's a really good point. That's a really good point. I
but
don't
again, as a wide receiver
that.
in the league, you got to have a competent quarterback, and the Raiders don't have that.
Phenomenal Hebrew. The last time Kansas City had a call go against them, the president was someone named Barack Hussein Obama. Barack. Chiefs never have calls go against them. Never. Ever. Okay. The Chiefs are in division, so there is that, but the Chiefs are smart enough not to put themselves in cap hell. Well,
yep, fair take.
I understand why you wouldn't want to trade him to the Chiefs. I get it. The AFC West is tough enough, and the Chiefs have been good enough.
Yeah.
But would you rather trade him to the Cowboys? Don't you want to trade him outside the conference?
If
that's your biggest concern.
Yeah.
Fat Jesus says T Swift put the kibosh on Devonte. Could be. I don't know. I think it is. I think it's a very interesting situation. So the latest is Adam Schefter says that the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to be trading for Devonte Adams. They have not shown interest per sources. The Cowboys and Jets have, and the Raiders are in no hurry. They want to make sure they get maximum value for Devonte Adams, who would like to be traded ASAP. There you go. All right.
Maybe Devonte. I know. Maybe Devonte can go to Boise State, San Diego State, make that conference better.
Could be. Canyons Golf, the official golf club of the Monty Show. This weekend and next weekend, that's it. Then the season's over at Park City Mountain Canyons Resort in Park City. Let's go play some golf, man. We have 2 weekends left. Let's do it. I'm open this weekend.
Yeah, McCluskey, what's the deal, bro?
Yeah, McCluskey. Yeah, guy.
Preston the mechanic.
What's the deal, guy? Let's go play some golf up at Park City Mountain Resort, Canyons Golf, in the Canyons Village at Park City Mountain Resort. I love it because, again, it's a world-class experience. The service, the level of golf, lush fairways, receptive greens. You can chip. The rough is always well manicured. Pin placements can be challenging, but isn't that what you want at a world-class golf resort? I think it is. And the colors are at their peak up in the mountains of Park City. Cannot wait to look at the leaves this weekend. Let's go play some golf and then have a great meal in the Village at Canyons because they have, again, one of the best Mexican restaurants in the state is in the Pendry building at the bottom in the lobby, the area below the building.
Yeah, and stuff,
At the Pendry in Canyons Village. Just Google search Canyons Golf Park City. Book your tee times online. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. 2 more weeks left. Can you believe it is October?
Yeah, winter's coming.
Winter is coming. 2 more weeks left. Canyons Golf in Park City. Let's finish up the Taco Bell conversation. What time you playing golf on Sunday? Noon 30?
Noon 30.
Tanner, Jake twisting the knife with that comment.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I'm just trying to improve the value of the conference,
Mr. Mayo Caruso still loves you. Tanner, why do you speak hurtful words? That's what I'm saying. Okay, what would it take for you to eat a Taco Bell right now?
Money, and lots of it. Because the last 2 times I've eaten at Taco Bell, it's ended poorly for me for days on end.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's not. And
polluted the ducts.
Yeah, dude, it's not been good, bro. And
The
I'm not
drain's
even
been
exaggerating, dude. No, the drain hasn't been clogged. It's been, a waterway. It's been bad, dude.
Got a hydro jet
Yeah,
there.
bro. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So,
I'm lucky. I have a stomach of steel. Like, I knock on wood. I very rarely, if ever, have issues.
and that's the thing. That's the part too, because I kind of feel like I'm similar in that way. Like, the only place that really ever gives me issues is Taco Bell, and I don't eat
When's
there.
the last time you ate there?
That last time that we went and spent like $75. Do you remember that?
I do. That was a couple of years ago.
That was a
wasn't
couple
it?
years ago. Yeah, it's
And
been that long.
I have told you on the show, as little fast food as I eat, but I'm a Del Taco fan if I'm eating fast food.
Well, and that's the other thing too, with the rising value of that in our world. I would rather, like, if I'm going to eat that kind of food, I love the Double Del. I love it. Love it.
But
dude.
you're such a jerk. You don't go to Del Taco for a burger.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Only you.
Fat.
Only you.
Yeah, you do.
Go to a taco joint and they're like, hey,
I'm a
man,
man.
those burritos look good. Hey, you guys got burgers in here?
But Del Taco to me is to me always felt like a burger and fry joint that happened to do Mexican food. Like, I don't even think
Really?
that their taco game is like amazing. It's better than Taco Bell for sure.
Well,
but that's not
yeah.
saying a lot, right? Like, I think their crinkle cut fry game is one of the most underrated things in fast food that nobody talks about. Their fries are phenomenal.
Okay. They have crinkle cuts.
Yeah, which I'm a huge fan of. Now, it's not Portillo's crinkle cuts, but it's pretty good.
I would agree with that.
So, no, I'm not going to Taco Bell on Taco Tuesday when they decided to move it.
Sadly, the only fast food I eat is Chipotle. I've been on
You've been vacillating.
the brisket burrito. I'm just telling you. The brisket at Chipotle,
Yeah.
a little spicy, but it's good.
It delivers the heat.
I think I'll get that for lunch. The Monty Show presented by The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, where you never pay a penny to chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365. It won't cost you a dime at TheAdvocates.com. Until tomorrow, NFL Power Rankings, Thursday Night Football. It's all tomorrow on the show. Have a great day. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.